The village where people wake only in dreams. Chapter 1. The Silent Arrival. You arrive at the sleeping village as the sun begins its gentle descent. Painting the sky in soft shades of amber and rose, the air is still. So perfectly still that you can hear your own heartbeat, echoing in the quietude that surrounds you. The cobblestone path beneath your feet whispers with each step, worn smooth by countless journeys, countless arrivals just like yours. You pause at the village's edge, feeling something you cannot quite name. Something that makes you want to breathe more slowly, more deeply. Before you stretch rows of small houses, each one unique yet harmonious with its neighbors. Their windows are dark, curtains drawn, doors closed. Yet there is no sense of emptiness here. No feeling of abandonment. Instead, there is presence, as if the very stones are dreaming, as if the village itself is alive, waiting. You walk along the main street, your footsteps the only sound in this sleeping world. The houses seem to lean in slightly, as though listening to your approach. Their rooftops create gentle curves against the darkening sky. Chimneys standing like sentinels, silent and watchful. A fountain sits in the center of the village square. Its water no longer flowing, yet somehow still musical. Still singing a lullaby only you can hear. You approach it slowly, drawn by something indefinable. The basin is filled with clear water that reflects the first stars beginning to appear above. As you gaze into the water, you see not just your own reflection, but something more, something deeper. The water seems to shimmer with memories, with dreams, with stories waiting to be told. You reach out to touch the surface, and ripples spread outward in perfect circles, disturbing nothing, changing everything. The evening air carries scents of lavender and jasmine, of bread baked hours ago, of gardens tended with love. These are the scents of life, of home, of belonging. Even though you have never been here before, even though you know no one in this place. You notice how the shadows fall differently here. Softer somehow, more forgiving. They do not hide, they embrace. They do not conceal, they comfort. The darkness that approaches is not something to fear, but something to welcome, like an old friend returning after a long journey. A gentle breeze stirs the leaves of ancient trees that line the streets. Their branches reach toward each other, creating natural archways, tunnels of green that frame your path. The leaves whisper secrets in a language you almost understand, almost remember. You find yourself drawn to a particular house, larger than the others, with ivy climbing its walls, with flowers blooming in window boxes, despite the lateness of the season. This house seems to call to you, though no voice speaks, though no light shines from within. Standing before this house, you feel the weight of the day beginning to lift from your shoulders. The concerns that brought you here, the questions that drove you to seek this place, they begin to soften, to fade, like footprints in sand touched by gentle waves. The front door is painted a deep blue, the color of twilight, the color of dreams. There is no nameplate, no number, no indication of who might live within. Yet somehow you know this is where you belong. At least for tonight, at least for now. You reach for the door handle, and it turns easily in your hand, as if it has been waiting for you, as if it has always been unlocked. Just for this moment, just for your arrival. The door opens with a soft sigh, like a breath released after being held too long. Inside, the house is furnished simply, but comfortably. A fireplace holds the ghost of warmth. Though no fire burns, bookshelves line the walls, filled with volumes that seem to glow with their own inner light. A staircase leads upward, its banister worn smooth by countless hands. You climb the stairs slowly, each step taking you higher, taking you deeper into this place of quiet mystery. At the top, a hallway stretches before you, lined with doors, each one slightly ajar, each one inviting you to peek inside, to discover what lies beyond. But it is the window at the end of the hall that draws your attention. A large window that looks out over the village, over the sleeping houses, over the fountain in the square. From here, you can see everything, and everything seems to be watching you in return. The last light of day fades as you stand at this window, watching the transformation of the village below. The houses seem to settle more deeply into themselves, like children pulling blankets up to their chins. The streets empty of even the memory of footsteps. The very air seems to slow, to thicken with approaching dreams. And then, as the first stars claim their places in the darkening sky, you notice something extraordinary. The village is not quite as empty as it seemed. Shadows move behind curtained windows. Not the shadows of waking people, but something else. Something that exists between sleep and waking, between reality and dream. You press your face closer to the cool glass of the window, trying to see more clearly, trying to understand what you are witnessing. The shadows dance and sway, performing some ancient ritual, comprehended, yet somehow recognize, as if you have seen this dance before, in your own dreams, in your own quiet moments between sleeping and waking. The moon begins to rise, just a sliver at first, but growing brighter, more insistent. Its light spills across the village like water, like milk, like the softest of veils, and in that moonlight, everything changes, everything shifts, everything becomes possible. You find yourself yawning, despite the mystery unfolding before your eyes, despite your curiosity about what will happen next. The house around you seems to embrace your tiredness, seems to welcome your need for rest. The very walls pulse gently, rhythmically, like a heartbeat, like breathing, like the eternal rhythm of sleep itself. There is a bed in the room behind you. You notice it without turning around, know it is there without looking. It calls to you with promises of soft sheets, of pillows that will cradle your head, of dreams that will carry you deeper into the mystery of this place. But still you stand at the window, watching, waiting, sensing that something wonderful is about to begin. Something that will explain why you were drawn here, why you were meant to arrive at just this moment, just as the village prepares for its nightly transformation. The fountain in the square begins to sing again. Not with water, but with light. Moonbeams dance across its surface, creating patterns that shift and change, telling stories in a language of pure illumination. You watch these patterns, letting them wash over you, letting them carry away the last remnants of your daylight worries. One by one, the houses below seem to glow, not with electric light, but with something warmer, something more alive. as if each house contains its own small star, its own gentle fire, its own dreaming heart. The village transforms before your eyes, becoming something magical, something impossible, something that exists only in the space between sleeping and waking. Your eyelids grow heavy as you watch this transformation. Your breathing slows, deepens, matches the rhythm of the village below. You are becoming part of this place, part of its mystery, part of its nightly ritual of dreams and wonder. The bed behind you seems to call more insistently now, promising rest, promising dreams, promising answers to questions you did not know you were asking. You turn from the window slowly, reluctantly, knowing that sleep is necessary, that sleep is part of whatever magic is about to unfold. As you settle beneath the covers, as your head finds the perfect spot on the pillow, as your body relaxes into the softness that surrounds you, you hear it, faint at first, then growing stronger. The sound of footsteps on cobblestone, the sound of voices speaking in whispers, the sound of a village waking up. But these are not the sounds of ordinary awakening. These are the sounds of dreams taking shape, of sleeping minds reaching out to touch each other, of a community that exists only in the realm of sleep, only in the kingdom of night. Through the window, moonlight streams across your bed, across your closing eyelids, carrying you deeper into this mystery, carrying you toward whatever waits in the hours before dawn. You drift toward sleep knowing that when you wake, if you wake, nothing will ever be quite the same again. The village settles around you like a lullaby made of stone and starlight. The house cradles you like a mother's arms, and somewhere in the distance, growing closer with each breath you take, footsteps approach, voices whisper your name. Though no one here knows who you are, though you have never been here before, though this is all impossible, all wonderful, all exactly as it should be. Sleep comes like a gentle tide, washing away the edges of consciousness, carrying you deeper into the mystery that is this village, this night, this perfect moment between one world and another. And as you sink into dreams, the real adventure begins, the adventure that can only happen when the moon rises, when the village wakes in ways that daylight cannot understand, when dreams become more real than reality itself. Chapter 2. When the moon rises. You drift in that perfect space between sleeping and waking, where thoughts become liquid, where time moves like honey, where the boundaries between dream and reality blur until they disappear entirely. The bed beneath you feels both solid and ethereal, grounding you while simultaneously lifting you towards something impossible, something wonderful. Through your half-closed eyelids, you sense the moonlight growing stronger, more insistent. It streams through the window like a river of silver, pooling on the floor, climbing the walls, transforming the room into something that exists outside of ordinary time, outside of ordinary space. The first whisper reaches you like a breath of wind, so soft you might imagine it, so real you cannot ignore it. It speaks no words you recognize, yet somehow you understand. It speaks of welcome, of belonging, of secrets about to be shared. More whispers join the first, creating a chorus of gentle voices. They seem to come from everywhere and nowhere, from the walls themselves, from the moonbeams dancing across the ceiling, from the very air you breathe. The whispers grow gradually more distinct, more numerous, until they become the sound of a community awakening. But this is not the awakening of ordinary morning. This is something else entirely. Something that happens only when the moon reaches its perfect height. Only when the village surrenders completely to the realm of dreams. Only when sleeping minds learn to dream together. You rise from the bed without conscious decision, drawn by forces you do not understand. By curiosity stronger than the call of sleep, your feet find the floor. But you are not quite certain the floor is really there. Everything feels substantial yet gossamer, real yet impossible. Moving to the window, you see the transformation has begun in earnest. The cobblestone streets shimmer with an inner light, as if each stone contains a tiny star. As if the very ground is dreaming, the houses glow more brightly now. Their windows filled not with electric light, but with something warmer, something alive. And then you see them, the villagers, emerging not from their doorways, but from the air itself, materializing like gentle mist, taking human form. Their bodies seem to be made of moonlight and memory, substantial enough to cast shadows, translucent enough to let starlight pass through them. The first to appear is an elderly woman, her hair silver as the moonbeams that dance around her. She steps into the street as if stepping into water, her movements creating ripples in the very fabric of the night. She looks up at your window, and though you are certain she cannot see you, she smiles and waves, as if she has been expecting you. As if she has been waiting for you to witness this nightly miracle. More villagers appear, each one unique, each one beautiful in their translucence. A baker still wearing his flour-dusted apron, though no flour from any earthly mill could glow with such inner radiance. A mother carrying a child who laughs with the sound of silver bells, though the laughter echoes from everywhere at once. A musician clutching a violin that seems to be made of crystallized music itself. They move through the streets with purpose, but not the hurried purpose of daylight hours. This is the gentle purpose of dreams, the unhurried intention of those who have all the time in the world, all the time between moonrise and dawn, to be fully, completely, magnificently alive. You watch in wonder as they gather in the village square, around the fountain that now flows not with water, but with liquid light. The sound it makes is like music, like laughter, like the gentle conversation of old friends. The villagers cup their hands to drink from this fountain, and as they do, they become more solid, more vibrant, more beautifully real. Without conscious thought, you find yourself moving away from the window, toward the door, toward the stairs. The house seems to guide your steps, encouraging you, welcoming your desire to join what you witness below. The walls pulse gently with encouragement. The floor supports you like a faithful friend. Down the stairs you go, each step taking you deeper into this dream reality, deeper into the mystery of a village that lives only in the realm of sleep. The front door stands open, inviting. The threshold seems to shimmer like the surface of a deep pool. You step outside, and immediately feel the difference. The air itself is alive here, thick with dreams and possibilities. It caresses your skin like silk, fills your lungs like the sweetest perfume. You are still yourself, yet somehow more than yourself. enhanced by the dream nature of this place. The villagers turn toward you as you approach the square, their faces filled with gentle welcome, with recognition, as if they have been waiting for you, as if your arrival completes some essential pattern. Their eyes shine with wisdom earned through countless nights of shared dreaming, countless hours of living in this space between sleeping and waking. The elderly woman who first appeared steps forward, her movement like water, like light, like grace itself, when she speaks. Her voice seems to come from everywhere at once. From the stones beneath your feet, from the stars above your head, from the very center of your own heart. Welcome, she says. Though the word contains layers of meaning, depths of invitation. Welcome to the place where we truly live, where we are most ourselves, where the daylight world cannot follow. Others join her, their voices blending into harmony, creating music from simple words. We have been dreaming of your arrival, they say. We have been preparing a place for you in our nightly wanderings, in our shared imaginings, in our community of sleeping souls. You want to ask questions, want to understand how this is possible, want to know why you have been chosen to witness this miracle. But the questions fade before they can form into words. In this place, understanding comes not through explanation, but through experience, through surrender, through allowing yourself to be carried by the current of shared dreams. A child approaches, the same child you saw being carried earlier, though now she walks on her own feet, feet that barely touch the ground. Her eyes are wide with wonder, old with wisdom, young with eternal possibility. She reaches out to take your hand, and when she does, you feel the final barriers dissolving, feel yourself becoming fully part of this dreaming community. Her hand is warm and cool at once, solid and insubstantial, real beyond question, impossible beyond doubt. Through her touch, you feel the dreams of every villager, their hopes, their memories, their joys, their gentle sorrows. All of it flows through you like music, like light, like the most beautiful story ever told. Come, she says, her voice like wind chimes, like water over stones, like the first bird song of morning. Come and see what we have built in our sleeping hours, what we create when the world of daylight releases its hold on us. Together, hand in hand, you walk through streets that exist nowhere on any earthly map, past houses that are built from dreams and starlight, toward wonders that can only be imagined by sleeping minds set free to wander, to explore, to create impossibilities that feel more real than reality itself. The other villagers join this procession, this gentle parade of dreaming souls. They move around you like a river of light, like a symphony of presence, their feet making no sound on the cobblestones, their voices humming melodies that seem to reshape the very air around you. You notice how time moves differently here. Each moment stretches like taffy, like honey, like the perfect pause between heartbeats. You have been walking 4 minutes, 4 hours, 4 lifetimes. Yet the moon remains in the same position. The stars shine with unchanging brilliance. The night itself seems to hold its breath, to wait patiently for whatever magic is about to unfold. Buildings that were simple and earthly in daylight now reveal their true nature. Windows shine with inner light. Doors open onto rooms that extend far beyond what their external dimensions should allow. Gardens bloom with flowers that exist only in dreams, flowers whose petals are made of crystallized music, whose fragrance carries memories of perfect summer days that never were but always are. The villagers begin to sing as they walk, not with their voices, but with their entire beings. The melody rises from their footsteps, from the rhythm of their breathing, from the synchronized beating of their dreaming hearts. It is a song of welcome, of celebration, of community found in the most impossible of places. You find yourself humming along, though you have never heard this song before. The melody seems to be written in your bones, composed in your blood. It is the song of belonging, the anthem of those who have found their way to where they truly belong, even if that place exists only in the space between sleeping and waking. As you walk, you begin to notice other impossible things. Cats that are made of shadow and starlight, perching on windowsills that extend into infinity. Birds that fly in formations that spell out words of welcome in languages you recognize without understanding. Butterflies whose wings are tiny stained glass windows, showing scenes from dreams within dreams within dreams. The very air shimmers with possibility, with magic, with the accumulated dreams of all who have ever lived in this village, all who have ever found their way to this place between worlds. You breathe this air and feel yourself changing, becoming more than you were, less solid, but more real, more yourself than you have ever been. The procession continues through streets that branch and merge like the passages of a vast, benevolent maze. Each turn reveals new wonders, new impossibilities made manifest through the collective will of sleeping minds. Fountains that flow upward, toward the stars. Trees whose branches hold glowing fruit that sings when the wind touches it. Doors that open onto balconies overlooking landscapes that exist only in the most beautiful dreams. And through it all, the villagers move with you, around you. Their presence a constant reminder that you are not alone in this wonder, that you have been welcomed into a community of dreamers, a family of sleeping souls who have learned to live fully only when the sun goes down, only when the moon rises, only when the boundaries between possible and impossible dissolve entirely. The child who holds your hand squeezes gently, drawing your attention to what lies ahead, in the distance. Beyond the flowing streets and impossible architecture, something extraordinary awaits. Something that will make even these wonders seem ordinary by comparison. Something that exists at the very heart of this dreaming village. Chapter 3. The Dream Market. The procession of dreamers leads you through winding streets that seem to fold in on themselves, creating shortcuts through space that should not exist, yet feel as natural as breathing. The child's hand in yours serves as an anchor, keeping you connected to this impossible reality, even as your mind struggles to accept what your eyes see, what your heart knows to be true. Ahead, the street opens into a vast marketplace that extends far beyond what the village's boundaries should allow. The market square stretches in all directions, filled with stalls and vendors, with impossible goods and customers who exist only in the realm of dreams. The very air here tastes of cinnamon and starlight, of memories and possibilities yet to be born. Vendors call out their wares, in voices like music, like poetry, like the gentle conversation of old friends sharing secrets. But these are not ordinary merchants. And these are not ordinary goods. Here, in this dream market, the currency is wonder. The merchandise is made of crystallized imagination. The customers are all those who have learned to live fully only when they sleep. The first stall you approach is tended by a man whose fingers seem to be made of moonbeams, whose eyes reflect depths you cannot fathom. Before him, arranged on shelves that extend upward until they disappear into the star-filled sky, are bottles of every size and shape. Each one glows with its own inner light. Each one contains something precious beyond measure. Memories, he says when he notices your curious gaze, his voice like wind through autumn leaves, like rain on a quiet lake. I collect memories, preserve them, share them with those who need them most. Would you like to see what dreams look like when they are bottled? When they are saved for safekeeping, when they are offered to strangers who might treasure them as much as their original owners did. Without waiting for your answer, he lifts a small bottle from the nearest shelf. Its contents swell like liquid light, like captured aurora, like the essence of a perfect sunset. This one contains the memory of a first kiss, he explains. Not the physical act, but the wonder of it. The way it feels to discover that love is real, that magic exists, that life holds surprises beautiful beyond imagining. He holds the bottle toward you, and even without opening it, you can feel the warmth it contains, the joy, the sweet confusion of young hearts discovering their capacity for connection. For a moment, you are tempted to reach for it, to experience that memory as if it were your own. But something holds you back. Some understanding that these memories belong to others, that they are sacred, that they are meant to be witnessed, not possessed. The memory keeper smiles at your restraint, as if he has seen this same gentle wisdom in countless other visitors to his dream stall. You understand, he says, placing the bottle carefully back on its shelf. Memory is not meant to be taken, only shared, only appreciated, only honored for the gift it represents. You move on, the child still holding your hand, still guiding you deeper into this marketplace of impossibilities. Around you, other villagers browse and barter, their voices creating a constant murmur of gentle conversation, of discoveries shared, wonders appreciated together. The next stall draws your attention with its display of mirrors. But these are not ordinary mirrors. These reflect not your physical appearance, but your dreams, your hopes, your deepest longings. The woman who tends this stall has eyes like pools of starlight, hair that moves as if underwater, as if she exists in some element more fluid than air. See yourself as you truly are, she invites, gesturing toward the mirrors with hands that seem to be made of condensed moonlight. See yourself as your sleeping mind knows you to be, free from the constraints of daylight thinking, free from the limitations imposed by waking consciousness. You approach one of the mirrors cautiously, and gasp at what you see reflected there. It is you. But you as you exist in your most wonderful dreams, confident, radiant, surrounded by the golden glow of possibility. This mirror shows you not as you fear you are, but as you hope you might become, not as others see you, but as your deepest self knows you to be. The reflection smiles, and you realize it is not just showing you a different version of yourself. It is showing you the version of yourself that exists here, in this dream village, in this place where sleeping minds are free to become their truest selves. The reflection waves, and you find yourself waving back, greeting this dream version of yourself with wonder and recognition. Moving deeper into the market, you encounter a stall where a young man sits playing chess, but the pieces are made of crystallized music, and they move according to rules that shift with each game. Each piece sings when it moves, creating melodies that tell stories, that convey emotions, that communicate in ways words never could. "Would you like to play?" he asks, his voice harmonizing with the music of his chess pieces. The rules change with each game, but the purpose remains the same: to create something beautiful together, to make music from strategy, to turn competition into collaboration. You watch as he demonstrates, moving a piece that looks like a tiny dancer. It glides across the board singing a melody of longing and hope. In response, an opposing piece that resembles a miniature tree begins to sing harmony. The two melodies interweave, creating something more beautiful than either could achieve alone. This is not chess as you know it, but something entirely new. Something that could only exist in a place where dreams reshape reality. The child tugs gently at your hand, drawing you toward another section of the market. Here, time itself seems to move differently. You pass a stall where an elderly craftsman shapes objects from condensed starlight, his tools made of crystallized intention, his materials drawn from the dreams of sleeping astronomers. Sleeping children who wish on stars, sleeping lovers who make promises under moonlit skies. Next to him, a woman spins thread from the laughter of children. Her spinning wheel powered by joy itself, the thread she creates glows with warm light, and everything woven from it carries the blessing of innocent happiness, of pure delight, of the kind of laughter that makes the world feel safe and magical. You realize that in this market, nothing is sold in the conventional sense. Instead, everything is shared, exchanged, offered freely to those who can appreciate its true value. The vendors are not merchants seeking profit, but dreamers sharing the wonders they have discovered in their sleeping hours. The impossibilities they have learned to make manifest through the power of collective dreaming. A commotion near the center of the market draws your attention. A small crowd has gathered around something. Their voices raised not in argument, but in amazement. As you approach, you see what has captured their attention. A young girl, perhaps 7 or 8 years old, is engaged in an elaborate game with her own reflection. But this is not an ordinary reflection in an ordinary mirror. Her reflection has somehow stepped free of any reflective surface, and now exists as an independent being. The two versions of the girl, the original and the reflection, chase each other through the crowd, laughing with voices that harmonize perfectly, creating music from their play. It happens sometimes, explains a nearby vendor, a baker whose bread seems to be made of crystallized comfort, whose ovens are fired by the warmth of happy memories. When someone's dream self becomes so vivid, so complete, that it takes on a life of its own, the reflection becomes real, becomes a companion, becomes a reminder of all the different selves we might be if we were brave enough, imaginative enough, dream-filled enough. You watch as the girl and her reflection continue their game, weaving between stalls, creating small whirlwinds of laughter and light. Other villagers smile as they pass, some reaching out to touch the dancing pair, as if their joy is contagious, as if their play adds to the collective magic of this place. The stars above the market begin to shift, to rearrange themselves, spelling out words in languages you recognize without understanding, messages of welcome, of belonging, of invitation to explore deeper wonder still. The constellations themselves seem to be responding to the activities below, to the dreams being shared, to the impossibilities being made manifest through collective belief. Time flows like honey here, thick and sweet and golden. You have been in the market 4 minutes, 4 hours, 4 days, it matters not, in this place. Duration is measured, not by the movement of clock hands, but by the depth of wonder experienced, by the number of impossibilities witnessed, by the degree to which your heart has been opened to magic. A vendor approaches you, an ancient woman whose age seems to shift with the light. Sometimes young, sometimes old, sometimes existing at all ages simultaneously. In her hands she carries a small box, ornate but simple, beautiful but understated. "This is for you," she says, her voice like the whisper of silk, like the sound of snowflakes settling, like the first word spoken after a long silence. Every visitor to our market receives a gift. Something to help them remember, something to help them find their way back, something to remind them that this place, these people, these impossibilities, are as real as anything that exists in the daylight world. You accept the box with trembling hands, feeling its weight, its warmth, its strange sense of being both empty and full at the same time. What is inside, you ask, though part of you already knows the answer. Possibility, she replies with a smile that seems to contain all the wisdom of countless dreams. Pure possibility, waiting for you to decide what form it should take, waiting for you to dream it into being, waiting for your sleeping mind to give it shape and purpose and reality. The child who has been your guide throughout this wonder-filled evening squeezes your hand again, drawing your attention to something new, something that has appeared at the edge of your vision while you were focused on the gift, something that makes even this marketplace of impossibilities seem ordinary by comparison. In the distance, beyond the organized chaos of the dream market, beyond the vendors and their impossible wares, beyond the customers made of moonlight and memory, stands a house unlike any other. A house that seems to exist outside the normal rules of architecture, outside the normal rules of reality itself. A house that calls to you with a melody so beautiful, so haunting, so utterly compelling that you know you must discover its source, even if the discovery changes everything, even if the discovery means you can never return to the simple certainty of ordinary dreaming. Chapter 4. A House with No Door. The melody reaches you like a thread of pure longing, woven from notes that should not exist together, yet somehow create the most beautiful music you have ever heard. It calls to you across the dream market, through the vendors and their impossible wares, beyond the laughter of the girl and her reflection, past all the wonders you have witnessed, drawing you toward something that makes your heart race with anticipation and fear in equal measure. The child who has been your guide throughout this night of miracles feels the pull of the music too. You sense her hesitation, Feel her small hand tighten in yours. When you look down at her, her eyes are wide with something that might be worrying, might be awe, might be the deep recognition of approaching mystery. The house with no door, she whispers, her voice barely audible above the distant piano melody. No one goes there. No one has ever gone there. Though many have heard the music, though many have felt its call, we know that someone lives inside. Someone who plays piano when the moon is highest, when dreams are deepest, when the boundary between sleeping and waking becomes thinnest of all. Other villagers have noticed your attention to the distant house. Some approach, their faces showing the same mixture of fascination and caution that you feel. They gather around you in a loose circle, their translucent forms creating a ring of gentle light, of protective presence, of shared concern for someone they have come to care about. Even though you are a stranger, even though you arrived only hours ago in their time, lifetimes ago in dream time. The elderly woman who first welcomed you steps forward, her expression grave yet kind. The house has stood there for as long as our village has existed in this realm, she explains, her voice carrying the weight of accumulated wisdom, of mysteries pondered, but never solved. We hear the music every night. Always the same melody, always hauntingly beautiful, always calling to us in ways we cannot quite resist. A man joins the conversation, his form flickering between solid and translucent, as if his connection to this dream realm wavers with his emotions. Some say the musician is one of us, a villager whose dream became so deep, so complete, that they created their own space within our shared dreaming. Others believe it is someone from the waking world, someone whose need for music was so great that they found a way to continue playing even in sleep. But what makes you say it has no door? You ask, though even as you speak the words, you begin to understand. The house in the distance appears normal at first glance. A comfortable cottage surrounded by gardens that glow with their own inner light. But as you focus more intently, as you allow your dream-enhanced perception to truly see, you realize what they mean. The house has windows, it has walls, it has a roof and chimneys, and all the elements that make a house. But where the front door should be, there is only smooth wall. Where the back door might be found, only unbroken stone. The house is complete in every way, except for any means of entry, any way for someone to go inside, any explanation for how the pianist came to be there. We have walked around it countless times, continues the man, his voice filled with years of puzzlement, of gentle frustration. We have searched every inch of its exterior. There are no doors, no openings, no way in. Yet the music continues, night after night, beautiful and impossible and calling. The child looks up at you with eyes that seem far older than her apparent years. Some of our people believe that if someone were brave enough, determined enough, dream-filled enough, they might find a way inside. But we also fear that anyone who enters that house might never return to us, might become so lost in whatever reality exists within those walls, that they forget about our village, forget about the shared dreaming that brings us together each night. The melody grows stronger as you listen, more insistent, more personally compelling. It seems to be speaking directly to you, telling you stories without words. sharing emotions too complex for language, promising revelations that can only be found by following the music to its source, by accepting the invitation that no one else has ever dared to accept. You find yourself taking a step toward the distant house, then another. The villagers do not try to stop you, but their concern is palpable. You can feel their love for you, their desire to protect you, their understanding that some journeys must be taken alone, even when the destination is uncertain, even when the path leads toward mysteries that might be dangerous, even when those who care about you can only watch and hope and remember. "Wait," calls the memory keeper from his stall in the market. He approaches quickly, carrying one of his glowing bottles. "If you are determined to go, take this with you." He holds out a bottle that seems to contain liquid starlight, liquid hope, liquid connection to all who wish you well. This contains the memory of finding your way home. No matter how lost you become, no matter how far you travel from familiar ground, this will help you remember the path back to those who care for you. You accept the bottle with gratitude, feeling its warmth against your palm, sensing the love and protection it contains. The other villagers approach as well, each offering something for your journey. The woman with the spinning wheel gives you thread that glows with the laughter of children, to keep joy alive in your heart. The baker offers bread that will never grow stale, that will provide comfort no matter how dark the path becomes. The chess player presents you with one of his musical pieces, a small figure that hums softly with harmonies of courage and determination. "This will remind you that you are not alone," he says. "That even in the strangest territories, even in the most isolated places, you carry the music of connection, the melody of community, the harmony of those who care about your safe return." With these gifts tucked safely away, these talismans of love and protection, you continue walking toward the house with no door. The music grows ever stronger, ever more beautiful, ever more compelling. Each note seems to resonate, not just in your ears, but in your bones, in your heart, in the deepest chambers of your dreaming soul. The path that leads to the house is unlike any other in the village. It seems to be made of crystallized moonlight, of condensed melody, of the hopes and fears of all who have walked this way before, only to turn back at the threshold of mystery. Your footsteps make no sound on this strange surface, yet somehow you feel the path responding to your presence, welcoming you, encouraging you, guiding you toward whatever awaits. As you draw closer, the house reveals more of its impossible nature. The gardens that surround it are filled with flowers that bloom in harmony with the piano music, their petals opening and closing in rhythm with the melody, their colors shifting to match the emotional tone of each phrase. When the music turns melancholy, the flowers glow with deep purples and blues. When it lifts into joy, they burst into golden light, into colors that have no names in the waking world. The windows of the house glow with warm light, but not the steady illumination of electric bulbs or even candles. This light pulses gently, rhythmically, like the breathing of some vast, benevolent creature, like the heartbeat of dreams themselves. Through these windows, you catch glimpses of movement, of shadow and light dancing together, of someone moving within, though how they came to be inside remains a mystery. You circle the house slowly, carefully, examining every inch of its exterior, as the villagers have done countless times before. They spoke truly. There is no door, no opening, no visible means of entry. The walls are seamless, perfect, beautiful in their completeness, yet frustrating in their impermeability. How does the pianist enter? How do they leave? How do they exist in a space that seems to have no connection to the outside world? The music pauses, just for a moment, and in that silence you hear something else. A voice, soft, distant, filled with longing that matches your own. It speaks no words, but somehow you understand. Someone inside knows you are here. Someone inside has been waiting for you. Someone inside shares your need to bridge the gap between dreamer and dream, between seeker and mystery, between the village of shared dreaming and this place of solitary music. When the piano resumes, the melody is changed. It is still beautiful, still haunting, but now it carries a new quality, a sense of invitation, of welcome, of doors opening in ways that have nothing to do with physical architecture. The music itself becomes a bridge, a pathway, a means of entry that transcends the ordinary laws of space and matter. You close your eyes, allowing the melody to wash over you completely, to fill every corner of your consciousness, to replace your ordinary sense of self with something more fluid, more musical, more capable of existing in multiple states simultaneously. The gifts from the villagers warm against your skin, reminding you of the love that surrounds you, the connections that will guide you home, the community that awaits your return. When you open your eyes, you are no longer standing outside the house, you are within it. Though you cannot remember crossing any threshold, cannot recall any moment of transition, the music surrounds you now, not coming from any particular direction, but emanating from the very walls, from the air itself, from the space between moments. The interior of the house is larger than its exterior suggested, much larger. Rooms open onto other rooms in configurations that should not be possible. Staircases spiral upward into shadows that might hide entire floors. Entire worlds, doorways frame not other rooms, but landscapes, seascapes, skyscapes, views into realities that exist only in the deepest dreams, only in the most creative corners of sleeping minds. And there, in the center of what might be the main room, sits the pianist. They are neither young nor old, neither clearly male nor female, neither entirely human nor completely something else. Their form shifts slightly as they play, sometimes more solid, sometimes more translucent, always beautiful in ways that transcend ordinary understanding of beauty. Their fingers move across keys that seem to be made of crystallized emotion, of condensed experience, of all the feelings that have ever accompanied music in the history of dreaming. They look up as you approach, their eyes reflecting depths that contain entire universes, entire symphonies, entire lifetimes of musical expression. "I have been waiting for you," they say, their voice harmonizing perfectly with the piano melody, creating music from speech, creating poetry from simple acknowledgement. "Waiting for me," you ask, though your voice seems strange in this place, more musical than you remember, more fluid, more capable of conveying meaning beyond words. Waiting for someone who would hear the call, they reply. Their fingers never cease in their movement across the impossible keys. Someone who would not be satisfied with watching from outside. Someone who would need to understand, to experience, to become part of the music itself. Most who come to our village are content with the wonders they find there, with the shared dreaming, with the community of sleeping souls. But occasionally, someone arrives who needs more, who needs to explore the deeper mysteries, who needs to discover what lies beyond even the realm of shared dreams. You realize that this pianist, this mysterious figure who creates such beautiful music in their doorless house, is not trapped here, not isolated, not cut off from the village and its community. They have chosen this existence, chosen to explore the furthest reaches of what is possible in the realm of dreams, chosen to push the boundaries even further, to discover what lies beyond the beyond. The house has no door because doors are limitations, the pianist explains, their music shifting to match the explanatory tone of their words. Doors suggest that there are places you cannot go, realities you cannot access, possibilities you cannot explore. Here, in this space I have created within our shared dreaming, there are no such limitations. Here, entry and exit happen through intention, through need, through the willingness to surrender ordinary expectations about how space and time and matter must behave. You move closer to the piano, drawn by the beauty of the music, by the wisdom in the pianist's words, by the sense of being in the presence of someone who has discovered secrets about the nature of reality itself. The piano bench seems to expand, to welcome you, to invite you to sit beside this master of musical dreams. Would you like to learn? They ask, their hands still moving across the keys with fluid grace. Would you like to discover what it means to create music, or with your fingers alone, but with your entire being, with your dreams, with your willingness to exist fully in the realm of pure possibility? You sit beside them, feeling the warmth of their presence, the energy of their creative force, the invitation to participate in something beyond ordinary understanding. When you place your hands on the keys, they feel neither cold nor warm, but alive, responsive, eager to translate your thoughts and feelings into sound, into melody, into harmony that bridges all gaps between souls. Together, you begin to play, your inexperienced fingers somehow knowing exactly which keys to touch, exactly how to contribute to the ongoing melody, exactly how to add your voice to this musical conversation that has been waiting for your participation. The music that emerges is more beautiful than either of you could create alone. A perfect blend of the pianist's expertise and your fresh wonder, of experience and innocence, of solitary exploration and communal sharing. As you play, you begin to understand why this house has no door, why the villagers have never entered, why some mysteries must be approached with reverence, with patience, with the understanding that the deepest truths reveal themselves only when we are ready. Only when we have prepared ourselves through journey, through community, through the accumulation of smaller wonders that teach us to appreciate larger ones. The music you create together begins to change the house itself. Walls become more transparent, revealing the village beyond, the market, the fountain. The villagers who still watch and wait and hope for your safe return. You realize that this house, this music, this mysterious pianist, are not separate from the village, but part of it, the deepest part, the heart that pumps life through all the shared dreaming, the source from which all the nightly wonders flow. Now you understand, the pianist says, their voice blending seamlessly with the melody. This is not exile from the community, but service to it, not isolation, but the deepest form of connection. From here, from this space beyond ordinary dreaming, the music flows outward, touches every corner of our village, makes possible all the wonders you have witnessed, all the impossible market stalls, all the bottled memories, all the shared joy of those who find their way to us. Hours pass, or perhaps minutes, or perhaps lifetimes. Time has no meaning when you are creating music that exists outside of time. When you are participating in the ongoing composition of dreams themselves. When you are discovering that the boundaries between musician and music, between dreamer and dream, between self and other, are far more fluid than you ever imagined. But gradually, you become aware of something changing. The light streaming through the windows has begun to shift, to take on a different quality. Outside, the stars are beginning to fade. The moon is setting, the eternal night of the dream village is coming to an end. Dawn approaches, and with it, choices that will determine not just how this night ends, but how all your nights will unfold from this moment forward. The pianist's hands slow on the keys, the melody becoming softer, more contemplative, more filled with the bittersweet recognition that all beautiful experiences must face the question of duration, of permanence, of what remains when the music stops. Dawn comes, they say softly, their voice now carrying undertones of sadness, of anticipation, of love for someone who must make a difficult choice, and you must decide whether to return to the village, to the waking world, to the life you knew before you found us, or whether to remain here, in this place between places, in this realm where music never ends, where dreams never fade, where the boundaries of possibility limited only by the depth of your imagination. Through the windows, you can see the villagers beginning to fade, their translucent forms becoming even more gossamer, more ethereal, preparing to return to their sleeping bodies, to await another night, another opportunity to live fully in the realm of dreams. They look toward the house with expressions of love, of blessing, of understanding that whatever you choose, you will always be part of their community, part of their shared dreaming, part of the music that connects all sleeping souls. The moment of choice approaches like the tide, inevitable, transformative, carrying with it the weight of all possibilities, all futures, all the different lives you might live depending on what you decide in these final moments before dawn breaks over the village, where people wake only in dreams. Chapter 5. The Choice Before Dawn. The piano keys beneath your fingers feel different now, warmer, more alive, as if they have absorbed something of your essence, as if you have become part of the instrument, part of the music, part of the endless composition that flows from this doorless house into the dreaming world beyond. The melody you and the pianist create together has become softer, more introspective, filled with the quiet beauty of approaching transitions, of endings that are also beginnings, of choices that will reshape everything. Through the windows that frame impossible views, You watched the first pale hints of dawn beginning to touch the edges of the dream village. The light is different from ordinary sunrise, more gentle, more forgiving, carrying with it not the harsh reality of daylight, but something softer, something that honors both the world of dreams and the world of waking. Something that makes the transition possible without destroying what came before. The villagers in the distance have begun their nightly ritual of fading, their translucent forms becoming even more ethereal, more gossamer, like mist touched by morning breeze. But they do not disappear entirely. Not yet. They wait, watching the house with no door, sending waves of love and blessing toward whatever choice you will make, whatever path you will choose in these final moments of the dream night. I can feel your heart torn into directions, the pianist says softly, their words becoming music, their music becoming words. Part of you longs to stay here, to explore the deepest mysteries, to learn all the secrets of creating music from pure dream essence, to become one who serves the community by maintaining the source from which all wonders flow. But part of you also calls toward return, toward the connections waiting in the waking world, toward the life you lived before you found us. You nod, unable to speak, feeling the truth of their observation emanate through every fiber of your being. The pull toward staying is strong. So strong, the beauty here, the sense of purpose, the feeling of being part of something magnificent and eternal, all of it calls to you with the voice of deepest longing, deepest recognition of where you truly belong. But equally strong is the pull toward return, toward the world of daylight and ordinary concerns, toward the people who love you there, toward the responsibilities and joys and simple human connections that make up the fabric of waking life. That world seems distant now, almost unreal compared to the vivid beauty of this dream realm. Yet it tugs at your heart with memories of warmth, of laughter, of morning coffee and evening conversations, of all the small miracles that make ordinary life extraordinary. There is something you should know, the pianist continues, their hands creating gentle harmonies that seem designed to comfort, to support, to make this moment of choice easier rather than harder. The choice you make now, it is not permanent, not absolute, not the end of all other possibilities. Those who find their way here, who hear the music, who enter this space between spaces, they carry something of it with them always, no matter which world they choose to inhabit. The music shifts, becomes something you recognize. Though you cannot place the melody, it sounds like home, like comfort, like the lullabies that carried you to sleep as a child, like the songs you hummed when you thought no one was listening, like the music of your own heart when it is most at peace. If you choose to return, the pianist explains, you will carry the memory of this place, the knowledge of what exists in the realm of dreams, the ability to find your way back when sleep comes, when the moon rises, when your dreaming mind needs the community of others who live fully only in the space between sleeping and waking. The village will always be here. We will always be here. The music will always be playing, waiting for your return. This knowledge brings relief, but also confusion. If return is possible, if this realm will remain accessible, then what does the choice really mean? What are the consequences of staying versus leaving? What transforms based on the decision you make in these moments before dawn? The pianist seems to sense your questions, your need for deeper understanding. The music they play becomes more complex, layered with meanings that transcend ordinary comprehension. The choice, they say, is not about access, but about identity. Not about where you can go, but about where you belong most fully, about where your truest self finds its most complete expression. Through the window, you see the child who has been your guide throughout this magical night. She stands at the edge of the market square, her small form glowing with love and concern and hope. Her eyes are fixed on the house with no door, on the choice she must make. Though she cannot hear your conversation, cannot see your internal struggle, you sense that she understands, that all the villagers understand, that this moment has been building since your arrival, that everything you have experienced has prepared you for this decision. If you stay, the pianist continues, you become like me, a guardian of the source, a creator of the music that makes all other wonders possible. You surrender the ordinary world, but gain the extraordinary. You give up the simple pleasures of waking life, but receive the profound joy of serving something larger than yourself, of being the heart that beats at the center of the community, of ensuring that the dream village continues to exist for all who need it. The weight of this possibility settles over you like a beautiful, heavy cloak, to become the source of wonder for others, to serve the community by maintaining the magic from which all other magic flows, to live entirely in the realm of dreams and music and impossible beauty. The idea fills you with awe, with longing, with a sense of purpose you have never felt so strongly. And if I return, you ask, though your voice seems to come from very far away, as if the part of you asking the question exists in some distant realm, some other version of reality. If you return, the pianist smiles, their expression filled with understanding, with compassion, with complete acceptance of whatever you might choose. You become a bridge, a connection between worlds, someone who carries the magic of this place into ordinary life, who helps others believe in wonder, who serves the community by bringing its gifts into the daylight world, by remembering, by dreaming, by keeping alive the possibility that there is more to existence than what appears on the surface. Both paths seem beautiful, both seem necessary, both seem like ways of serving something greater than yourself. The choice is not between good and evil, not between right and wrong, but between different forms of love, different ways of contributing, different expressions of the same deep desire to make the world more wonderful, more connected, more alive with possibility. The light at the windows grows stronger, more insistent. Dawn approaches with the inevitability of tide, of season, of all natural rhythms that cannot be stopped or slowed or bargained with. You feel time pressing against your consciousness, feel the moment of choice approaching like a wave, about to break on the shore of decision. The pianist's hands slow on the keys, the melody becoming simpler, more distilled, more essential. Whatever you choose, they say, their voice barely above a whisper. Know that you are loved, that you are appreciated, that your presence here has added something beautiful to our eternal composition. Something that will remain part of the music even if you choose to carry it elsewhere. Even if you decide to serve the wonder in a different way. You close your eyes, letting the music wash over you one final time. Feeling its beauty, its power, its connection to everything that matters most in any world, dream or waking. In this moment of deep listening, deep feeling, deep connection to your truest self, the answer begins to emerge, not from your mind, but from some place deeper. Some place that knows without needing to think, that chooses without needing to analyze. When you open your eyes, you find yourself looking not at the pianist, not at the impossible piano, not at the interior of the house with no door, but at the child, your guide, your friend, your connection to the community of dreamers who have welcomed you so completely. She stands just outside one of the windows, her small hand pressed against the glass, her eyes wide with love and hope and trust in whatever you decide. And in her face, you see the answer you have been seeking. Not in words, not in explanations, not in logical reasoning, but in the simple recognition of where your heart feels most at home, most needed, most able to serve the wonder that has touched your life so profoundly. The music reaches a natural pause, a moment of perfect silence, perfect possibility, perfect readiness for whatever comes next. The pianist waits, the village waits, the approaching dawn waits, everything waits for your choice, for your step into whatever future you'll create with this decision. You rise from the piano bench, your fingers trailing across the keys one last time, creating a final phrase of melody, a musical signature that will remain part of this place forever, part of the ongoing composition that flows from this space into all the dreams of all the sleeping souls who find their way to the village where people wake only in dreams. The pianist smiles, their expression filled with understanding, with blessing, with complete support for whatever you have chosen. Go well, they say, their voice harmonizing with the lingering notes of your final musical phrase. Go with love, go with magic, go with the certainty that wonder exists, that community is possible, that music connects all hearts across all distances, across all differences between sleeping and waking, between dream and reality, between the many different ways of being alive. The house begins to fade around you, or perhaps you begin to fade from it. The transition happens gradually, gently, like the slow awakening from the most beautiful dream, like the gradual return to ordinary consciousness after touching something extraordinary. The walls become transparent, then translucent, then gossamer, then memory. You find yourself standing once again in the village square, beside the fountain that flows with liquid light. The villagers surround you, their faces glowing with joy, with relief, with celebration of your choice, of your return to their community, of your decision to remain part of their shared dreaming rather than disappearing into the deeper mysteries. The child runs to you, her arms outstretched, her laughter like bells, like music, like the pure expression of happiness that needs no explanation, no justification, no complexity beyond the simple joy of reunion, of connection maintained, of love affirmed through choice. You came back to us, she says, her voice filled with wonder, as if your return was not certain, as if she feared you might disappear into the piano house and never emerge. You heard the deepest music. You entered the place none of us dared to enter, and you came back to us. The other villagers gather closer, their translucent forms creating a circle of light, of warmth, of community restored to completeness. They do not ask about your experience in the house, do not demand explanations, do not need to know the details of what you discovered there. Your return is enough. Your choice to remain part of their shared dreaming is enough. Your presence among them is gift enough. But you carry something new now, something that was not there before your journey to the house with no door. In your heart, in your memory, in the deepest chambers of your dreaming consciousness, you carry the melody you helped create, the music you learned to make from pure possibility, the knowledge of what exists at the source of all the wonders you have witnessed. This music will color all your future dreams, will add depth to every night you spend in the village, will remind you always that mystery exists, that there are always deeper levels to explore, always greater wonders to discover, always new ways to serve the magic that connects all dreaming souls. The dawn light grows stronger, more present, more ready to reclaim the world from night's gentle dominion. The villagers begin their graceful fading, their return to sleeping bodies, their preparation for another day of ordinary existence before the moon rises again and calls them back to their truest selves. But you know now that this fading is not loss, not separation, not ending, it is simply transition, simply the rhythm of existence that includes both sleeping and waking, both dreaming and ordinary consciousness, both the magical community of the night village and whatever connections wait in the daylight world. As the last notes of the pianist's eternal melody fade into morning silence, as the fountain's liquid light becomes ordinary water reflecting ordinary sky, as the impossible architecture of the dream market dissolves into memory, you feel yourself being carried toward awakening, toward return, toward the moment when you will open your eyes in whatever bed, in whatever room, in whatever world you inhabited before this night of wonders. But you carry it all with you, every moment, every marvel, every connection made in the realm of shared dreaming, and you know, with the certainty that comes only from direct experience, that when sleep comes again, when the moon rises again, when your dreaming mind reaches out for connection and community and wonder, you will find your way back. Back to the village where people wake only in dreams. Back to the fountain that flows with liquid light. Back to the market where impossible things are traded for wonder. Back to the house with no door where eternal music serves eternal magic. Back to the child who will take your hand. Back to the community that will welcome you. Back to the part of yourself that lives most fully, most completely, most beautifully in the space between sleeping and waking. The choice has been made. The path has been chosen. The music continues. And somewhere in the distance, growing fainter, but never disappearing entirely, piano notes drift on the morning breeze, carrying the promise of return, carrying the certainty of connection, carrying the eternal melody that links all hearts, all dreams, all sleeping souls who have learned to wake fully only in the realm of impossible possibilities. Sleep comes like a gentle tide, carrying you toward morning, carrying you toward awakening, carrying you toward the ordinary world that is now forever changed by what you have experienced, what you have chosen, what you carry in your heart. And in that heart, the music plays on, the village exists, the magic endures, waiting for night, waiting for sleep, waiting for the moon to rise again, waiting for your return to the place where dreams are more real than reality, where community transcends the boundaries between sleeping and waking, where love connects all souls who dare to believe in wonder, who dare to seek connection, who dare to live fully in the space between what is and what might be. The village where people wake only in dreams, waits for you, loves you, remembers you, and will welcome you home again, and again, and again. For as long as you need a place where magic is real, where community is possible, where music connects all hearts across all distances, across all differences, across all the many different ways of being gloriously, impossibly, beautifully alive. Chat controls Sonnet 4.